The text message came through at 11:47 a.m. on a Saturday. Family brunch at Riverside Country Club. 1 p.m. Don't be late. And Maya, try to dress appropriately this time. My brother Marcus always had a way of making invitations sound like warnings. I stared at the message for a moment, then set my phone down on my desk. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows of my office, I could see the city stretching out below, but my mind was already somewhere else. Riverside Country Club. I hadn't been there in 6 months, not since I'd finalized the acquisition. The previous owners had been eager to sell, too many debts, too much overhead, not enough vision. I'd paid cash. $12.3 million. The lawyers had handled everything quietly and I'd kept my name off the public records, using my LLC instead. My family had no idea. They never asked about my work. To them I was still Maya, the quiet one. The one who'd chosen computers over a real career. The one who wore simple clothes and drove a modest car. The family disappointment. I glanced at my reflection in the darkened computer screen. At 31, I'd built 3 successful software companies, sold 2 of them, and now ran a private equity firm that specialized in acquiring underperforming luxury properties. My net worth had crossed $340 million last quarter. But to my family I was just Maya. The weird one who never got married, never bought a flashy car, never showed off. I preferred it that way. Mostly. I arrived at Riverside at 12:55 p.m., parking my 6-year-old Honda Civic in the lot between Marcus's new Mercedes and my sister Jennifer's Range Rover. The clubhouse gleamed white in the afternoon sun, its colonial architecture perfectly maintained. I'd approved the recent renovation budget myself, $2.8 million for the new terrace alone. Marcus was waiting at the entrance, arms crossed, wearing a polo shirt that probably cost more than my entire outfit. His eyes swept over me with barely concealed disgust. "You wore jeans," he said flatly. "Hello to you too, Marcus. This is a private club, Maya. There are standards." He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "I had to vouch for you to even get you in here. Try not to embarrass me." I smiled pleasantly. "I'll do my best." Inside, the dining room buzzed with the low hum of Wealth crystal clinking against china, subdued conversations, the occasional laugh from the bar area. My parents were already seated at a prime table by the windows overlooking the golf course. Dad's face was red, probably already on his second scotch. Mom looked up as we approached, her expression tightening. "Maya," she said, her tone managing to convey both greeting and disappointment in 2 syllables. "You came." "Of course, Mom." Jennifer arrived moments later with her husband Brad, both of them dressed like they'd stepped out of a country club catalog. Jennifer's eyes traveled over my outfit with the same disdain Marcus had shown. "Seriously," she whispered as she passed. "You couldn't even try?" I took my seat and picked up the menu, though I already knew every item on it. I'd worked with Chef Raymond personally on the updated spring menu. The pan-seared salmon was his specialty. "So," Dad began, settling back in his chair with his drink. "Your mother and I wanted to discuss something important." "Here it comes," I thought. "It's about the family trust," Mom added, glancing at Marcus and Jennifer with obvious pride. "Your father and I have been reviewing the distribution plans." Marcus leaned forward, his expression serious but satisfied. "Given our positions and contributions to the family legacy, it makes sense to adjust things." "Adjust things," I repeated quietly. "You're 31, Maya," Dad said. "Still unmarried. No real career to speak of. Those little computer projects of yours." He waved his hand dismissively. "We need to be realistic about who can properly manage family assets." Jennifer nodded sympathetically, though her eyes were cold. "It's not personal. It's just that Marcus has his law practice and Brad and I are expanding the dental franchise. We understand wealth management." "And you don't think I do," I said. "Not a question." "Honey," Mom said, reaching over to pat my hand with false warmth. "You're a bright girl. But you never really applied yourself. You could have gone to law school like Marcus. Or business school. Instead you chose, whatever it is you do. Software development," I said. "And private equity." Marcus laughed. Actually laughed. "Private equity? Maya, you work from your apartment doing freelance coding. That's not private equity. That's barely employment." I took a sip of water. My heart rate hadn't changed. Years of board meetings and hostile negotiations had taught me the value of appearing completely calm, even when people were insulting you to your face. I see, I said simply. The point is, Dad continued, emboldened by my lack of response, we're restructuring the trust. Marcus and Jennifer will receive the bulk of the assets. You'll still get something, of course. Maybe 50,000. That should be plenty for someone in your situation. 50,000. The family trust was worth roughly $8 million. They were offering me half of 1%. That seems fair, I said quietly. Everyone at the table relaxed visibly. They'd expected a fight, and my compliance seemed to please them enormously. I'm glad you're being reasonable about this, Marcus said, signaling the waiter. Now let's order. Lunch is on me today. Consider it a celebration of family unity. The waiter approached, and Marcus made a show of ordering expensive wine, premium steaks, and appetizers. When he got to me, I ordered the salmon. Just the salmon? Mom said. No appetizer? I'm fine, thanks. Jennifer smirked at Brad. Watching the budget. Smart. Throughout lunch, the conversation flowed around me like I wasn't there. Marcus talked about a big case he was working on. Jennifer discussed expanding to 3 more dental offices. Dad complained about his golf handicap. Mom planned their upcoming cruise to the Mediterranean. No one asked about my work. No one asked about my life. At one point, Marcus turned to me with what he probably thought was kindness. You know, Maya, if you ever need help finding a real job, I know some firms looking for legal secretaries. The pay isn't great, but it's steady. That's thoughtful, I replied. I'll keep it in mind. After lunch, Marcus suggested we move to the terrace for drinks. As we walked through the clubhouse, he nodded at various members, clearly proud to be seen here. At the terrace entrance, he casually swiped his membership card. Nothing happened. He frowned and tried again. The small light on the card reader stayed red. That's odd, he muttered, pulling out his phone. Must be a technical issue. A staff member approached. Sir, is there a problem? My card isn't working, Marcus said, his tone carrying an edge. He wasn't used to things not working for him. The staff member, a young woman named Rachel, I remembered hiring her 3 months ago, checked her tablet. Her expression shifted subtly. Mr. Wilson, I'm showing your membership status as under review. Under review? Marcus's voice rose. I've been a member here for 4 years. Check again. Rachel's fingers moved across the tablet screen. I'm sorry, sir, but I'm going to need to ask you to speak with management. If you'll wait here. I'm not waiting anywhere, Marcus snapped. Do you know who I am? I'm a partner at Henderson & Associates. I bring clients here. Important clients. Other club members were starting to notice the commotion. I stood slightly behind my family, saying nothing. Jennifer tried to defuse the situation. I'm sure it's just a computer error. Right, Maya? You understand computers. Tell them to fix it. Before I could respond, a familiar figure emerged from the main building. Robert Chin, the club's general manager, walked toward us with the purposeful stride of someone dealing with a problem. I'd promoted him to GM 2 months ago. He was excellent at his job. Mr. Wilson, Robert said, his voice professional but firm. I need to speak with you privately. I'm not going anywhere until this is sorted out, Marcus said. My membership card isn't working and your staff is being incredibly unhelpful. Robert's expression remained neutral. Sir, your membership payment hasn't been received for the past 2 months. According to club bylaws, that puts you in violation of 2 months. Marcus's face flushed. That's impossible. I have automatic billing set up. The automatic payment failed, Robert explained. We sent 3 notices to your email address. When we received no response, we were required to suspend membership privileges. Mom stepped forward. This is clearly a mistake. Marcus would never let something like this happen. Just run his card again. Charge whatever is owed. Robert hesitated, glancing at me for just a fraction of a second. I gave the slightest shake of my head. I'm afraid it's not that simple, Robert said. The outstanding balance with late fees is $14,780. And given the violation of club policies, the membership committee will need to review whether to allow renewal at all. $14,000. I watched Marcus's face cycle through shock, embarrassment, and anger. This is ridiculous, he sputtered. I want to speak to the owner. Right now. The owner doesn't typically involve herself in day-to-day membership issues, Robert said carefully. I don't care what she typically does, Marcus snapped. Get her on the phone. No. I'm not going to be humiliated like this in front of. He gestured at the small crowd that had gathered. Everyone. My father joined in, his voice booming with the authority of someone used to getting his way. Young man, do you have any idea who we are? The Wilson family has been in this city for 3 generations. We know people. Important people. Now get your owner on the phone or I'll have your job. Robert remained calm. 5 years in luxury hospitality had prepared him well. Sir, I can certainly pass along your concerns to the owner. May I ask what you'd like to communicate? I want to communicate, Dad said, his face now fully crimson, that this club has incredibly poor management, that we're being treated like common criminals over a simple billing error, and that Marcus is a valued member who deserves an immediate apology and reinstatement. I see, Robert said. He pulled out his phone. Give me 1 moment. He stepped away, phone to his ear. I could see him speaking though I couldn't hear the words. The conversation lasted perhaps 30 seconds. When he returned, his expression had changed subtly. The owner has agreed to come down, Robert said. She was reviewing some renovation plans in her office. She'll be here shortly. Marcus looked triumphant. Good. Someone with actual authority needs to handle this. Jennifer pulled out her phone, probably texting friends about the drama. Mom fussed with her hair, preparing to meet someone important. Dad straightened his jacket. I remained still watching. 3 minutes passed. The crowd on the terrace had grown larger, members sensing drama the way sharks sense blood in water. Then I saw her. Margaret Torres, my COO, walking across the dining room toward the terrace. Margaret was 62, impeccably dressed, with silver hair and the kind of presence that commanded rooms. I'd hired her away from a major hotel chain 2 years ago. She was brilliant at operations and even better at managing difficult situations. She walked past our family without acknowledgement and went directly to Robert, speaking with him in low tones. He nodded, showing her his tablet. She studied it for a moment, then turned to face my brother. Mr. Wilson, she said, her voice carrying just enough to be heard by everyone nearby. I understand there's been some confusion about your membership status. Finally, Marcus said. Yes. Your incompetent staff suspended my membership over a billing error. I want an immediate apology and reinstatement. Margaret smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. I see. And you'd like to speak with the owner about this? Yes. I was told she was coming down. She's here, Margaret said simply. Marcus looked around, confused. Where? Margaret turned and looked directly at me. Miss Chen, would you like to address Mr. Wilson's concerns? The terrace went completely silent. Every eye turned to me. I stepped forward slowly, my expression unchanged. Thank you, Margaret. What? Marcus said. What is this? I turned to Robert. Can you pull up Mr. Wilson's account history, please? Robert tapped his tablet, then turned it so Marcus could see. Your automatic payment failed on March 15th. The bank indicated insufficient funds. We sent email notices on March 16th, March 30th, and April 12th. We also left 2 voicemail messages. When we received no response, club policy required us to suspend the membership. Marcus's face had gone from red to pale. This is... Maya, what is this? Mr. Wilson, I said, keeping my voice professional. I purchased Riverside Country Club 6 months ago. The acquisition closed in October. I'm the owner. The silence somehow grew deeper. That's impossible, Jennifer said. You can't afford. The purchase price was $12.3 million, I continued calmly. I also own the Grandview Hotel downtown, the Westlake Golf Resort, and as of last week, the Riverside Shopping Center. My private equity firm specializes in luxury property acquisitions. Mom's hand went to her throat. But you said you do computer work. I did computer work. Past tense. I sold my second software company 5 years ago for $87 million. I've been in private equity for the past 4 years. My current net worth is approximately $340 million. Dad's Scotch glass slipped from his hand, shattering on the terrace floor. Marcus found his voice, though it came out strangled. You've been letting us think you were broke. You never asked, I said simply. You assumed. I saw no reason to correct you. Margaret stepped forward. Miss Chin, regarding Mr. Wilson's membership. The suspension stands, I said. The notices were properly sent. The policy was clearly communicated. I see no reason to make an exception. Maya, Mom said, her voice desperate now. Surely you can't be serious. He's your brother. I turned to her. A brother who just told me I should be grateful for $50,000 from an $8 million trust. A brother who suggested I become a legal secretary because he assumed I was unemployed. A brother who, 30 minutes ago, told me to stop pretending I belong here. Jennifer tried a different approach. If you're really that wealthy, why do you live in an apartment? Why drive that old car? I live in the penthouse at Grandview, I said. Which I own. The old car gets me where I need to go. I don't need to prove my success to anyone. Apparently, you all need to prove yours to everyone. Robert leaned toward me, speaking quietly. Miss Chin, there's another matter. Mr. Wilson's father, Mr. James Wilson, also has a membership here. He's 2 months behind on payments as well. I looked at my father. His face had gone gray. Suspend it, I said. Paya. Mom gasped. You can't do this to your own father. Can't I? I met her eyes. Let me understand this correctly. An hour ago, you all decided I was worth less than 1% of the family trust because I don't understand wealth management. Now you want me to violate my own club's policies because we're related. Marcus tried one more time, his voice taking on a pleading tone I'd never heard before. Maya, come on. This is family. Family, I repeated. Yes. The same family that has spent the last decade making me feel worthless. The same family that never once asked about my work, my life, or my accomplishments. The same family that was perfectly happy to cut me out of the trust you didn't even earn. Our grandparents built that wealth, not you. We didn't know, Jennifer said weakly. You didn't ask, I corrected. There's a difference. Margaret checked her phone. Miss Chin, the renovation contractor, is here for your 3 p.m. meeting. Thank you. I turned back to my family one last time. Your memberships are suspended pending payment of outstanding balances and late fees. You'll need to arrange payment with accounting. The club's office hours are Monday through Friday 9 to 5. They don't take personal checks. I started to walk away, then paused. Oh, and regarding the family trust, I won't be accepting the $50,000. I don't need it. But I would suggest you review the trust documents carefully. Grandmother specifically stipulated that the trust was to be divided equally among all grandchildren. Her lawyer was very thorough. You might want to consult your own attorney, Marcus. Oh wait, you're an attorney. I'm sure you can figure it out. Behind me I heard Mom start to cry. Dad was silent. Marcus and Jennifer were both talking at once, their voices rising. I kept walking. Margaret fell into step beside me. That went well, she said dryly. Did it? The contractor can wait 10 minutes if you need to compose yourself. I smiled slightly. I'm fine, Margaret. Truly. You know they'll try to contact you. I know. And they'll probably try to make amends now that they know about the money. Probably. We reached the main building. Through the windows I could see my family still on the terrace, clustered together, no doubt trying to process what had just happened. For what it's worth, Margaret said, you handled that with remarkable restraint. I might have been less diplomatic. I considered having their cars towed from the parking lot, I admitted. She laughed. There's still time. My phone buzzed. Marcus. Then Jennifer. Then Mom. I silenced it. Miss Chin. Robert appeared, looking apologetic. I'm sorry to interrupt, but Mr. Marcus Wilson is demanding to speak with you again. He's threatening legal action. Legal action, I repeated. For what? He claims you're discriminating against him because of a family dispute. He's saying something about hostile business practices. Margaret snorted. He can't sue you for enforcing your own club's policies. Should I call security? Robert asked. I thought about it. About Marcus's red face. About Dad's broken glass. About Mom's tears. About how good it felt to finally stop being invisible to them. About how empty that satisfaction was. No, I said finally. Just make sure they leave the premises. And Robert? Make sure all future correspondence goes through the club's legal team. No exceptions. Understood. As he walked away, Margaret touched my arm gently. Are you sure you're all right? Ask me again tomorrow, I said. The contractor meeting took 40 minutes. We reviewed the pool renovation plans, discussed the timeline, negotiated the final price down by $50,000. Normal business. Normal life. When I left the club at 4:30, the parking lot was nearly empty. My family's cars were gone. In their place on the terrace, regular members sat enjoying the perfect spring weather, completely unaware of the drama that had unfolded. I sat in my Honda Civic for a moment, hands on the steering wheel, not starting the engine. My phone showed 37 missed calls, 15 text messages, 3 voicemails. I didn't open any of them. Instead, I started the car and drove home to my penthouse apartment, where the city lights were just beginning to flicker on against the darkening sky. Tomorrow I knew would bring more calls. More messages. Probably lawyers. Definitely drama. But tonight, I poured myself a glass of wine, stood at my floor-to-ceiling windows, and looked out at the city I'd conquered so quietly that my own family had never noticed. And I smiled. My phone rang again. Marcus. I watched it ring twice, 3 times, 4 times. Then I picked up. Hello. Why? His voice was different now. Smaller. We need to talk. Do we? Please. I didn't know. None of us knew. I know you didn't know, Marcus. That's exactly the problem. What do you want from us? I looked out at the city, at the buildings I owned, at the life I'd built in complete silence while my family assumed I'd built nothing. I want you to think, I said quietly, about why you never asked. Why you spent 10 years assuming I was a failure and never once wondered if you might be wrong. I want you to think about what that says about all of you. We're sorry. Are you? I interrupted. Are you sorry you treated me that way? Or are you sorry you treated me that way and it turns out I'm wealthy? Silence on the other end. That's what I thought, I said. Good night, Marcus. I hung up before he could respond. The phone immediately began to ring again, but I powered it off completely. Tomorrow Margaret would field the calls. Tomorrow Robert would handle the membership situation. Tomorrow the lawyers would send the appropriate letters. Tomorrow my family would start to understand what they'd lost. But tonight was mine. I raised my wine glass to the city, to the empire I'd built in secret, to the quiet victory of proving nothing to no one until the perfect moment. To family, I whispered to the empty room. And somewhere below, in the parts of the city I owned, life went on, completely unaware that the strange woman in the old Honda Civic was their landlord, their boss, their silent benefactor. Just the way I liked it. My laptop sat on the coffee table, still open to the afternoon's work. A new property opportunity in Miami. A resort that was underperforming, undervalued, perfect for acquisition. I sat down and began reading through the prospectus, making notes in the margins, calculating potential returns. This was who I was. This was what I did. And my family had never bothered to ask. Their loss. Not mine.